All right, what's up, guys? So, I promised that I would put out a build video for the Quickshift build coming into season 4. So, I've kind of whipped this up here. Um, Understand that it's a work in progress. It's really difficult to try and get an idea of what a build would look like for season 4 because so many things have changed from season 3 coming into season 4 that pertain to this build. So please just take everything here with a grain of salt and understand that you can swap in and out a bunch of things that perhaps work better. But I want to present this as a base that you can work from. It should kind of gimp you along until we can figure out a better version of this build. So let's just jump in real quick. For the 3 defensive slots, please just choose what you like. Whatever works best for you. I slapped those on there. Not too much thought. Skinwalkers might be a good choice because it's synergistic with the build, but the way it functions just isn't inherently as good as perhaps armor or damage reduction. So keep that in mind. For the damage, for the damage aspects here, I have selected the first one I selected was Raw Might. Pretty solid. I'm not sure if it's gonna do super well because we're gonna be using Maul a lot in this variant. However, later on, I think there's opportunity for us to remove Maul and use Pulverize, and so Raw Might would actually benefit Pulverize quite a bit. So if you find like figure out that you're not getting a lot of value from Raw Might, just swap that out for something else. Uh, Moving on for the boot slot, real quick. This is you can change this. This is highly subject to change. You could put movement speed in here. I have virulent in here because it helps reduce the cooldown of rabies. I think having poison out on enemies is going to help a lot with Changeling's debt. So moving into that, Changeling's debt has been redesigned as well. Basically, if an enemy is poisoned, you're going to do more damage as a werebear, and if an enemy is crowd controlled, you're going to do more damage as a werewolf. So that one's great. Understand that you may want to use this on a two-hander and not use an offhand. Um, However, if you choose to go one-hander and offhand, please put Changeling's Debt on your necklace. You'll get more of an increase from it. And Unsatiated just isn't as synergistic as this, so I would bump it down to the main hand. Okay. Um, on the neck, I have Unsatiated. This has been slightly redesigned. It's actually really nice now. So when you kill something with Shred, you're just gonna instantly get 20 spirit, and then as long as your spirit is above 50, you're gonna do more damage with your werewolf skills. So I think it has room in this build. We should pretty much always be using Shred, no matter what variant of Quick Shift we're using. Maybe with like a few caveats there, but so Shred's really important, and I think this has a place for it. Moving on, the ring slots are highly subject to change at the moment. I really did just throw these in here because I'm gonna have to test and see what's really synergistic. If you're wanting more primary resource, I would recommend using vocalized empowerment. And then in your offhand, I would use Night Howlers, which turns Blood Howl into a shout, which will then benefit from this. And if you're also going to go that route, I would drop Lacerate and pick up Debilitating Roar. Um, Keep that in mind. And then since we're using Shred, obviously, I do think Retaliation is pretty solid. So I went ahead and slapped that in there. But again, you could put Hunter's Zenith in here potentially. Um, it's the what's really nice about Hunter's Zenith are the passives. Actually, you get damage while shapeshift, critical strike, chance, and then you get ranks to both heightened sense and quick shift. Which then that's where I think a lot of benefit from this ring comes from. And then obviously the legendary effect is pretty nice as too, or it is what it is, but don't overthink it, right? Um, and then yeah, for just make sure you get your resistances capped out. In the weapon slot, you could use crit damage or vulnerable damage, whatever your build is lacking. And then for your armor, I I'm gonna assume that Sapphire is probably best for willpower because it is a direct damage increase for us, and we have a lot of willpower points in the Paragon board. But if you feel like in your Paragon board you're missing a few um, cutoffs, as far as I know, the dexterity, it should count towards your thresholds in Paragon board. So just use whatever you need, right? Um, Spirit boons, pretty much the same old, solid ones. You could swap around and toy with this. Is all subject to change, so I won't go into depth with that. Um, and then just real quick, I'll let you scan through the build here. There are a few things that you could change, and I'll show them here in a moment. I'll just scroll through. And for anybody that doesn't want to have to pause the video, I'm linking this build in the description below. So feel free to open it up. It's d4builds.gg. Shout out to them. Thanks for this awesome tool, awesome website. Okay, so let's see what we could potentially change. So, if we end up dropping Maul, we would take away one of these points and we would go into Pulverize, but that's later on. There is a potential to drop um, these 4 talents along with this one to pick up Pulverize, but again, that's later on. That's going to be late game for sure. Got Shred, maxed out all of these. If you are not going to run the Shout aspect, especially like leveling up and like in the 50s and 60s, I don't think Debilitating Roar is going to be necessary for like damage reduction or survivability. And so I would come down and I'd pick up Lacerate. Um, Also, let's touch on Lacerate real quick. I forgot. I do think the importance or like what allows Lacerate to be a part of this build is actually this talent right here. So when Lacerate critically strikes, you're going to deal a percent increase of damage for 10 seconds, and that can stack up to 40. So you end up with these little 10-second damage burst windows. You're not using Lacerate for its damage, but rather you're using it to increase your damage for the next 10 seconds. So keep that in mind. It's all obviously a great defensive cooldown as well. So you could always use it as an oh shit button, right? Like, oh fuck, I don't want to die. Pop that just like a trample. So that's there. Obviously with Hunter's Zenith, Quick Shift, Height Senses, that's what are going to be affected by these 2 nodes. So they're great. Um, and in earlier seasons, I tested this build with Ursign's Strength, but because of the synergy of just really needing to shift a lot with how things have changed, Bestial Rampage is kind of the no brainer here, right? 30% attack speed, 50x damage, like or 50% X, right? So can't complain about that. Yeah, there's room to potentially drop rabies from the build and pick up something else. But again, guys, this is highly subject to change, so take it all with a grain of salt. And then finally, so this Paragon board that will be shared with the build. This is not the Paragon for this build, okay? This is one I had used in the past. You're welcome to kind of use it as a basis. I would probably drop one of these boards, put points into somewhere deeper, like picking up this legendary node here. I think it's very important for our build. And then all these glyphs. None of these glyphs are picked for any particular reason. So please, use your own, like you kind of figure it out on your own, right? As as the season comes out, as I've had an opportunity to test, I'll come up with a Paragon board for you guys, and I will update this build. This is just something here for you to use, toy around with. If you have better ideas, if you think yours is better, by all means, build one up here on this website. Send it over to me. I'd love to see it. But I guess my only recommendation is I would start with the Inner Beast build or board, and then I would try to pick up this legendary node. because of how it synergizes with our build. Also, especially if you're going to take lacerate. But yeah, that's really it, guys. This again, this is a work in progress. Anything that you figure out while testing or playing, I would love to know, because I'm going to be testing it with you and trying to figure things out. So, kind of be a group effort. And hey, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps, right? I'm kind of close to the first threshold of it's not really like partner, but it's like a partner light for YouTube. So I'm on my way there. Welcome to help. It helps out a lot. But yeah, guys, that's really all I have, and I look forward to having a more complete build within the next week or so. So, all right, guys, thanks.